Look, it's a big win for us, and the players really earned it tonight. We knew we would be in for a really tough game, and NYCFC. When you see them up close, they're really really good. Like they're dynamic in attack, and they're really organized. And we knew it would be tough, especially here in their building, with the momentum that they have built and earned in this last month or so. And we knew we'd have to be at our best, and on a night that we get the victory, really important. We had to suffer together. So I'll finish with what I just told them. I'm really proud of them that they can reap the rewards, and the greatest reward for the players is they play well, and then of course get the points.
All right, we'll kick off with a reporter on the call, Matt Pollard.
Chris, thank you for the time. Congratulations on the result and everything. Walk me through your tactical approach to the game. Yapi getting a start, two strikers up top, at times a 4-4-2, a 4-2-2-2. What was the thinking behind that, and how you thought about how the club executed?
Yeah, Matt, you've been around a bit training, and you see that, we flirt with the two strikers. Look, we knew we would have to be defensively sound. Part of that would be that we, compact for sure, but also to put pressure on their back line where they're able to really build their attack. So we tried to keep them off balance on the night with a game plan that took time and space away around the pitch, but also put pressure on certain players. That was the first part of it, that defensively we would have to be really good against that team. And then the second part with the two strikers, that we thought with the way they attack with their fullbacks that could leave them vulnerable in moments in the counterattack. We created a few, opportunities in the counter with the two strikers. So that's to answer your question. That was a big part of it, with and without the ball.
Do you have any questions from the room? We'll go ahead and start here.
Yes. With some pieces missing today, what gave you the confidence to go for a 2-0 instead of keeping a 1-0?
Listen, we on day one with this team, we said we're going to be a real team and we're going to attack, and that's a lot of things when you say you want to attack. So against the ball, we want to be aggressive and take time and space away, and then with the ball, we want to be vertical and put pressure on teams. We know our fans love this football, and we try to entertain them and put pressure on teams. When you go up a goal, yes, can you? As New York City's throwing a lot of things at us, making lots of subs, bringing on some speed, we know this is tricky, but we wanted to stay aggressive also. We have guys off the bench, Calvin Harris, who came in, did a nice job. And we tried to leave the strikers out there because we knew a chance might come, but we didn't want to get too cute. So, we went to a five-man midfield. We brought in a couple more sixes to help out the midfield. I'm glad that worked. I'm glad that we get the points. Again, I knew it would be a tough game because NYCFC they're well coached for me, and they got some good players.
Go ahead and take one from JJ.
Chris, JJ Butler with Bad Dog Sports. Can you just talk about the midfield's performance and how they made chances for your forwards who pretty much capitalized on every single opportunity, even the ones that were called back?
Yeah, the biggest part for our midfield was going to be that they had to defend together. That we learned a lesson last week in Cincinnati, that if we get stretched against most teams in this league, especially the best ones, that you can get punished. We knew that with Rodriguez, we had to take away certain spaces. So for the midfielders, that they were, it's easy for me to yell it from the sideline, but for the way they were able to stay connected, which meant that we limited space for a lot of the key guys. At least that's what we tried to do, and that the midfields were a big part of that. So you can see in the first half, even in the second half, when they start hitting these diagonals, it can tend to open up your midfield left to right, side to side, and it was almost a message at halftime that we have to, try to keep them on one side, but we have to be shifting and having our strikers also join the defending. So, big day for the midfielders. Cole Bassett, you can see he's a top player. He has certain attributes that you can't teach. And Oliver Larraz is a young player still in the league, but covers a lot of ground, breaks up a lot of plays. They were big on second balls. and even in a low block, understanding the role of what the demands in those moments. So, yeah, all midfielders, let's call it 4 of them, really did a nice job. Omir Fernandez, I mean, really, these are attackers, right? But we often have to talk about the Jack Grealishes of the world and say, hey, if those guys are doing it, if Saka can do this and that, defend the way that way, then you should do it. And so it's a big demand if we want to be a team that's good defensively and dangerous when we don't have the ball. So, yeah, big night for that midfield group.
All right, we'll go ahead and take another from the call from Braden Nurse.
Hey Chris, thanks for the time. Congrats on the win tonight. You've built this team to be dangerous and score goals in transition and off the press. You scored 1 on each today and kept a clean sheet. Just hearing that, reflecting on the process this season, just what are you most happy about today, given this team is starting to look, more or less the way you'd like it to?
Yeah, Braden, I'm pleased with a lot of things. I really, they're human beings, right? You come off a loss. And Cincinnati, I thought they took it to us a bit. They really challenged us on a week ago. And we have a locker room full of guys that use it to learn. And I'm only teaching if they're learning. We have a hungry group. When you have a hungry athlete, that also means that they're willing to maybe buy what you're selling, if of course it makes sense. So the fact that the way their response was, the way they came back to work last week, just back to work, back to the details, back to the basics, open to the ways that we need to improve, and then they were able to go out there. Again, they're human beings. Like that, you can be demoralized in moments, or tough crowd against a good team. They've won 4 in a row here in this building, I think. So to see their response, we are still a young team. I remind everyone, we're a young team. So to see them stand up like men, I love it. I love it. I love the shutout. I love that we were able to take pressure and still be calm and put out some fires together. That's what I'm most proud. I really enjoyed watching the game from the sideline tonight. And again, I'm really proud that they can. I hear the music going. That I know what's going on, the feeling in that room. And this, again, the coaches, we cannot give that feeling. They have to earn that for themselves. And I love that I'm part of it and leading the way with it. So, yeah, we'll get right back to work in a few days, but we'll enjoy this one.
We'll go ahead and take one from you.
To that point about closing down space, I thought when they did have the ball, you sort of forced everything into Mill, and they never really got, especially in the first half, any quality looks. And I thought that also Sam Vines had an outstanding game in the back line. So I thought when they had opportunities, when they had possession, and you in the first half also had a lot of the ball where they didn't have it in dangerous areas, and you were able to keep it away from them. I thought that sort of set the tone for the entire match.
Well, I appreciate that. Listen, we have to try to take away certain spaces, and against them, we know some of the guys that can hurt us. So in moments we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, but we're trying to control certain areas and then understand how to put out certain fires or keep the ball away from our goal. We work a lot at that. It's again, they're an attentive group. They work together and they work really hard. So then everything's possible. I think anyone can be taught to defend, and we work a lot on that. So we tried to keep the ball in the wide areas, and they still would get out and have these big switches, and then it becomes tricky to defend. But I think on the night, yeah, we faced some shots and gave up some field position in moments. But again, it's a good team, and I watched them closely. It's a really good team, and so again, to see our guys come out on top, at least in this matchup, yeah, we're really pleased.
Coach Mohammed with the Exchange. A lot of your guys coming in this year with a chip on their shoulder, with Omir,
Yeah.
Zach Steffen, Georgie. Regarding Zach, what do you think his chances are with the national team? Seeing his performances with you guys this year.
Yeah, look, I mean, Greg Berhalter, he knows Zach really well. Not many coaches know him better, right? He's had him on all the levels and in Columbus all the years together. I think that Zach's shot-stopping ability, his leadership as a goalkeeper, his presence on set pieces, on crosses, his voice, his knowledge are all good fit for the national team. Now, when you get to the national team, it's you're choosing between fine margins. So Zach's ability with his feet also would fit into the style of play for the national team and Greg Berhalter. So there's nothing that would surprise Greg if he's watching, but I know he's watching, and Zach's on the radar. So as you know, in our country, we produce really top goalkeepers, so it's always going to be tricky. But I think Zach, in my opinion, he keeps creeping himself right back into that group. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets called in this summer. And we would love that he's part of that group. We want to put him in that spot. And I'll tell you what, Chris Sharp, our goalkeeper coach, he just came from Tim Howard's induction to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a top goalkeeper coach. I mean, if you could ever just watch what these guys do in training, and then the energy and the culture of what these goalkeepers do, led by Zach. Zach's hungry to get back in that group. We'll do everything we can to help him there, but yeah, I'm sure he's in the mix.
We'll go back to one on the call from Pollard.
Chris, I know you downplayed it a little bit midweek when I asked about you, but coming home, lots of distractions, family, friends, obligations. I'm sure a few people from the Red Bulls organization made it out to the game. Does this game have more emotional significance for you getting the result, in your hometown for you and Omir? Or are you just happy for 3 points?
I'm most happy with the points. I'm probably equally happy with the performance. That's for me, it's 100 minutes of real focus, energy, emotion, organization, committing to what we're asking around here. So honestly, where I'm at, like that carries much more weight. Leading up to the game, there's lots of tickets to organize, and that I love it. If people are in the building, win, lose, or draw, to support me, I'm grateful. I have a great family. My son Alexei's in the building. I haven't seen him in months. So yeah, it's great. That part is great. My sister-in-law is in the building with her daughters. It's almost easier, to be honest, not seeing them. It makes me miss them. But of course, I'd rather see them. So I love that they were able to come. I love that my brother Phil came from Pennsylvania with his family. So this is amazing, right? For them to see me doing what I'm doing in this building. My dad in heaven is looking down, like my mom's in the building. That stuff, I mean, I can't say I don't enjoy that, but coming into it, it's about a football game, getting points. And now that, of course, that they get to share in this special day for us, yeah. It is special back on the home soil here in New York. This is where I'm from. I'm a New Yorker, born in the Bronx. Like, it is special. There you go, Matt.
We'll go ahead and take 3 more. One from Braden, one from Connor, and then we'll end with one from JJ. Go ahead, Braden.
Yeah, Coach, I know we ask about Moyes every week, but it's kind of hard not to when he just gets better and better every week. He's known as the master of basics, but just in the past month or so, what are some of the more advanced things that he's starting to master that make him, like I said, get better and better on a weekly basis?
Well, here's what the first part. Honestly, the first part, or my coaches work hard with him. Neil Emblin is my defensive unit coach. He works hard. Here's a guy who's played 500-600 games in the championship in the Premier League. Like, when you have a mentor like that, talking about the details and what really top players need to behave like, from a character standpoint to the details after training, starts with us. Like, those coaches really pushing the details. Next, look at the back line, right? You got a captain in Keegan, Sam Vines on one side. You got, honestly, Maxu is a tremendous center back. If you were able to see Andreas Maxu, the way he shows up every day, he doesn't take days off. We almost have to say, hey, come on, take tomorrow off, a scheduled day off. So the culture in that back line is tremendous. So now you have a youngish player in Moyes that steps into this, and he's understanding how to become a real pro and some of the things to value. Then you add in Zach Steffen, that keeps those guys on it. So think about the support system that Moyes has around him. Yes, I've come up with the phrase, you are the master of the basics. I'm not just saying that. It's get rid of the step overs, get rid of rolling the ball, don't get too cute, come on, reset it. This is what it is every single day for Moyes, while letting him be Moyes. You know, he plays with personality and he's fast, and we know teams in Europe are probably looking, but we say, hey, get back to work type of thing. So he's a tremendous player. We see the talent that he is, but there's a lot going on around him helping him kind of grow like this. Yeah.
You alluded to this with an earlier answer about this being a young team and a good team, but with Ronan out a couple weeks and then Georgie out this week, the results don't change. You pick up another win. What does it say about the buy-in, the culture of the team, that even when you're missing some of your star players, that there's not a significant drop-off with the guys who come in and step up?
It says a lot about a lot of things probably, but from day one we talk about getting on the same page. You know, so if we have the right cast of characters, guys that are hungry, open, moldable, that work hard, talent in the group, we try to get on the same page. So not at halftime, we're not flipping different pages. It's a page that we can always have a reference point, and that's a lot that goes into it. You know, I as a coach, look, I continue to learn and grow myself. So I watch some of the best Artetas of the world, and Pep, these guys, and how they do things in possession. And I had some good mentors myself with Ralph Rangnick and Jesse Marsh, and so I understand my page now. How can we get these guys to get on the same page in stressful moments, under the pressure? So we work a lot. We work a lot on behaviors and that same page. So, okay, now when a player is out and you bring a guy in, you're not throwing that one out and starting something new. So guys understand their roles. You know, on the plane out here, it's 30 minutes with Kamani in the front seat with me on the plane. Hey, Kamani, listen, this is what it is. He's a young player with a high ceiling, and his positioning in possession, out of possession, some of the behaviors. I have a real tank for that stuff because I know, listen, it's how I see the game, but also how important it is. So, yeah, for players to step in and know their roles, it's I think a lot that goes into it, but that's an everyday thing. So, yeah.
Last question from JJ.
Chris, earlier we talked about the midfield, and you brought up Omir a little bit. Omir's been known to be a New York City FC killer by getting on the goal sheet, but tonight he showed a different side of his game. Instead of looking for that goal in the final 20, he was looking for teammates, hitting overlays, causing chaos in the box in front of Freeze. Can you just speak to his evolution in his game?
Yeah, look, he's getting himself going. He's heating up. He's such a talent on the ball. You can see he's things that are hard to teach, the shiftiness, the elegance on the ball, and tight spaces. He was almost built for this game today. But where he's coming along really for me in these last years, not just now, like in the last years, is he's a reliable guy defensively. You see him in the first half covering fullbacks that are advanced and winning duels, tackles, big recovery runs, coming over, not fouling. These are attackers are built to attack. So to him to show the real responsibility defensively, with the football brain and feet and soft feet and shiftiness, he's just growing. He continues to grow. He's one of those guys that comes every day. You can see how much he loves the game, and he's a team guy. So, listen, we put together some play, and I think it was him who chipped one back to the back post and set up a goal that didn't count, but he was in and around it, had a couple of shots that got saved. I think he had a really mature performance. I'm really happy for him that he got to do it on his home soil in front of his mom and dad and family too. So he's probably pissed at me that I took him off. But I never claimed to get it all right. But he was cheering behind me. I saw him out of his chair, rooting his teammates on. He's a real team guy.